So we continue with our discussion on stock valuation or valuation of common equity of a company under Unit 2. We've already seen two cases under valuation of common stocks where we had first assumed a single dividend and next year price, and case 2 where we had assumed a dividend and a price at the end of a few years if the business closes down after a few years, right? Now, in case 3, we will remove these two assumptions and we will bring in the assumption that the company actually survives till infinity, right? So usually a company is expected to be a going concern, which means it is expected to last till infinity, and thus there is no way of arriving at a final value, right? So you cannot find or claim that the company has sold or shut down its business at the end of a particular period. You will have to kind of mathematically try and find an equation that gives you the price of the stock. Now, luckily for us, mathematically this is possible to do, assuming that we assume a steady growth rate for the company's cash flows, right? We have to assume a single growth rate for the company's cash flows till infinity, and then mathematically it is possible to solve this, right? Let's see how. So if the company makes a payout every year, this is the cash flow that needs to get evaluated every year, and value of common stock is the present value of all the cash flows till infinity, right? Now, what we're going to believe or assume is that each cash flow is the last year cash flow growing at a certain growth rate G, right? So we'll assume that, let's say these cash flows are the dividends. Assume that the dividend is growing at a constant growth rate G, right? And so if last year dividend was D, this year dividend is D into 1 plus G, next year dividend is D into 1 plus G square, D into 1 plus G cube, so on and so forth till infinity, right? And if you find the present value of all these, that's 1 plus R, 1 plus R square, 1 plus R cube, and so on and so forth till infinity, right? If you look at this closely, each term is arrived by taking the previous term, right, and multiplying the previous term by 1 plus G by 1 plus R. See how this comes. The first term is D into 1 plus G divided by 1 plus R. Now you multiply this with 1 plus G upon 1 plus R, you get D into 1 plus G square, 1 plus R square. That's the second term we found. You multiply this with 1 plus G by 1 plus R, you get D into 1 plus G cube upon 1 plus R cube. That's the third term. So every term is being calculated as the previous term multiplied by 1 plus G upon 1 plus R, right? This 1 plus G upon 1 plus R is the common multiplication factor that we are using. And this is forming what is commonly known as an infinite geometric progression mathematically. A geometric progression typically takes the form of AK square, AK cube, and so on and so forth, where every term is multiplied by the previous term with a common factor, right? The previous term multiplied with a common factor k, then a common factor k, then a common factor k will keep giving subsequent terms, right? For example, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16 is a geometric progression. So that's what is a geometric progression. We have an infinite geometric progression here. Now, mathematically, it is possible to find the sum of an infinite geometric progression, right? The sum of an infinite geometric progression, which is given as AK, AK square, AK cube, and so on and so forth, is given as A divided by 1 minus K. That's the sum. A being the first term, where A is the first term in the series and K is the multiplication factor, right? So what is, in our case, what is A? A is the first term. So this is the first term. A is equals to D into 1 plus G upon 1 plus R. And what is K in our example? K is 1 plus G upon 1 plus R, because every term is getting multiplied by 1 plus G upon 1 plus R. So what is the sum? The sum of the infinite GP is given by A upon 1 minus K, which is nothing but D into 1 plus G upon 1 plus R. That's A, that's the numerator, divided by 1 minus 1 plus G upon 1 plus R. Correct? That's the value we get. This is the entire formula that we get. Now let's take this formula further. So we open the brackets and we try and see what happens in the denominator. So when we form the denominator, it becomes 1 plus R minus 1 plus G divided by 1 plus R, right? That's how we do it. So this and this will cancel each other. And when we open the bracket, what will come is dividend into 1 plus G. Again, 1 and 1 will cancel each other, divided by R minus G. That is what we get essentially in terms of the summation of the final value. Let's redo this once so that we don't have any kind of confusion. What we are saying is that the sum is given by A upon 1 minus K. A here is D into 1 plus G by 1 plus R, and K is 1 plus G by 1 plus R. When we solve for this, it gives us D into 1 plus G divided by R minus G. Right, so that's the calculation formula. We can try and simplify this and work this way. So let's take this once again, D into 1 plus G divided by 1 plus R divided by 1 plus R minus 1 minus G. Have opened all the brackets by 1 plus R. 1 plus R and 1 plus R cancel each other. Minus 1 and plus 1 cancel each other. What is remaining here in this formula is what we get here, right? That's the formula that we get. Dividend into 1 plus G upon R minus G, or in other words, sometimes some textbooks also denote this as D1 upon R minus G, D1 being the dividend next year, right? Because the growth rate will take dividend into 1 plus G will give me the dividend next year, divided by R minus G, where R is the expected return, G is the expected growth rate, steady, stable, constant growth rate, right? That's what G is. And based on this, we can arrive at the price of a particular company's stock. So that's basically the approximation that comes based on what is the price, because this is how the sum of an infinite geometric progression is taken. Let's take an example. Assume a company with a dividend of rupees 4, growth rate of 8%, required rate of return of 15%. The stock price could be derived using this formula. So dividend is 4. Next year dividend will be 4 into 1 plus 8%. That's 1 plus G, divided by 15% minus 8%. That should be the price of the stock.